My next guest has a big fight coming up. Just announced last night, officially announced on UFC.com this morning, and he goes up against Reza Madadi at UFC Fight Night London on March 18th, St. Patrick's weekend. It is Mr. Joseph Duffy. Joseph, first of all, my friend, always good to catch up with you. How are you, my friend? How are you keeping over in Montreal this morning? Feeling
All good, thanks, Niall. All good. How are you?
good, man? Yeah, can't complain. I know you're feeling a bit sick. You seem in good form to me when we're talking off the air there.
Yeah. That's it. Just sniffles. Sniffles. It's cold over here. It's a little bit of snow on the ground still. So normal story.
Great stuff, Joe. Joseph, obviously, you haven't been doing any media obligations for quite some time in relation to your contract. You don't want to talk about it. I know it's understandable at the moment. But finally, you've had a fight announced. Reza Madadi, London. Um, what's the feeling? Is it a sense of relief that the fight has finally been announced, that you have a fight?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it makes life a lot easier when you get a fight announced. Obviously, straight away your intensity goes up, everything, it just gives you that motivation to, obviously, like I like to stay in shape all the time, but, even more, it gives you that little extra edge. Um, Last fight in my contract as well, so it's always a relief to, get that organized. And now, once that fight's done, then I can start looking at the future and, at least I'll know where I stand,
Why do you think, the initial report came out, it's probably a couple of months ago now, Joseph, the initial report came out of this fight being announced. I think it was Kimura.se that announced the fight. They came out with the report. I know it wasn't signed at the time, or you just signed the fight bout contract. Why do you think it took so long for the UFC to announce it?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Obviously, the media team and everything, they got their, you know, they got their system they follow or whatever. Maybe, with tickets going on sale next week, it makes sense to announce the fights bit by bit, and then obviously it creates a bit of hype, and then people will, obviously be more aware the tickets are going on sale and that type of thing. So I'm assuming, it's something to do with that, but I have no idea.
Can you give us any updates on the contract situation? Obviously, you're going into the last fight of your UFC deal. Has there been any contact with the UFC brass about, has there been any contact with the promotion?
No, nothing since. I think the contract situation. There's no change there. I think it's just going to be a case of, fight the last fight, and we'll take it from there.
Does that frustrate you?
Um, at first it was frustrating me. I was thinking, because obviously in UFC they always talk about the exciting fights and this and that. So at first it was frustrating me, but then you know then you got to kind of take a step back and realize it's nothing personal. This is just business, and for them it's just a business too. So you got to look at it that way. And plus, like, there's no point getting frustrated because it's not going to change anything. So just got to let it play out, and in a way, it could work in my favor at the same time. So that's the risk you take.
Um, I know in an ideal world you probably would have wanted to fight a little bit sooner. I know you wanted to get on the Belfast card. Obviously, that didn't materialise. You've been doing a lot of training. Is it even the case that you need to sort of watch what you're doing in relation to your training, so you don't actually overtrain at the moment because you've been waiting so long to get a fight?
Um, I'm gonna take a step back now for a week. I wanna make sure my body's fully recovered. Um, just make sure when I go into camp I'm firing on all cylinders. So that's it. I've been training hard all through Christmas. I've been training hard. I've been, just trying to get my level up all the time. Every day I'm in the gym, I'm trying to improve. So, I'm gonna take a week off and recover and just rest up, and then I'll go into fight camp. Firing on all cylinders. Like, I'm feeling good. My weight's already good. I've been dieting since before Christmas. The fight was already, it was already lined up in my head. So I had that extra motivation to get in shape and stay in shape over Christmas. So there's no stress really. Everything's looking good. I'm already got a good base level of fitness. Um, so I'll take a week off, rest up, and then really hit it hard.
Is it unsettling, Joe, with this sort of hanging over your head going into a fight? Do you have to do anything in relation to keeping the mind in check? Because it is obviously um, a worry. I'd say that. I know there's plenty of other organisations that would take you on board. I know Scott Coker said here in Dublin that he'd be definitely looking at a guy like you once your contract runs out. But it must be a little bit unsettling going into the final fight of your deal, not knowing your future with the promotion.
Um, Not really. I suppose the more you let your mind linger on that stuff, the more of a big deal you make of it. But for me, I think the priority is just on winning the fight. Reza's a tough opponent. Always gives everyone a hard time. Never been stopped. So, to be honest, I find it very easy not to even look at that. I'm just thinking about trying to win the fight.
What do you think of Reza? Obviously, we know Reza well here in the European scene. We've seen him against Norman Park before. As an opponent, is it the type of opponent you wanted? Would you wanted someone a little bit different, or was it just a fact of maybe taking the fight that was offered on the table to see out this one fight that was remaining in your deal?
I think it's a good fight. I think it's a good fight. Styles wise, he always comes to fight. He's always in, battles. Which is something I quite enjoy myself. I enjoy that. I enjoy getting in the trenches a little bit. Maybe a little bit too much. Obviously, the Poirier fight,
Yeah.
but I think I think it's perfect. I think he's got very good wrestling. So where I struggle in the Poirier fight is gonna test that. He's not frightened to strike, so different. He's got a different type of striking as well. So it's another style maybe I haven't faced. So I think it's gonna put it all to the test, which is nice. He's awkward all round really, which is it's a perfect fight at this stage of my career. I feel.
We spoke about that before, Joe. That the fact you sort of got dragged into a battle against Dustin Poirier, and it was something you want to eradicate from your game when that does happen. Is that something that you're really going to try and focus on in this fight, not engaging yourself in the battle, and maybe focusing on, the things that you want to do instead of engaging in that, kind of warfare that would probably suit Reza better than it would suit your game plan?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, my main priority is just on winning. There's no point in me getting into a war if it's going to suit them. Unless it suits me, then I'm not going to bring the fight there. I feel like I have plenty of tools in my arsenal. I think striking, I got plenty of different tools I can show. So I'm looking to use them. You know, fighting's a selfish sport. It's all about you. When you fight, it's not you go, I go. It's all about me. So that's what I'm looking to do. And I feel like the fight with Dustin, I didn't use all my tools. I was too stuck on striking. When really, if the opportunity to take him down, sometimes it was there and I should have taken it. So obviously, if Reza gives me opportunity for the takedown and to dominate the ground, that's what I'm going to take as well.
Paddy's weekend as well. They're throwing you in there. How do you feel about that? Would you like to be having a few Guinness instead of getting in the cage?
No, that doesn't bother me in the least. Paddy's weekend, was perfect. It's perfect. The rugby will be on. Most of my friends from home, they're all living in London anyway. They're all living there, working there. There's a good gang traveling across. It's easily accessible for ones. Traveling from Wales, traveling from Ireland. It's perfect. It's a good central base. So.
But most importantly, Joe, we'll be there as well.
Or you're gonna make the trip, Niall? Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to make the trip across the pond. It's not that far, Duffy. Not that far. We'll come over to. Have you?
Time of your busy schedule.
That's it. um, have you heard from the UFC? If I presume you'd be on the main card. You're one of the bigger name fighters on the card. It's lining up to be a really decent card. The main event hasn't been announced yet. Have they told you what position you're going to be on the card?
No idea at the minute. To be honest, most of the time, you don't really know until
Oh,
around about
we're
fight
on.
week. I think.
Yeah.
I think like fight week, you turn up and like obviously you see the way it's lined up on the internet, but it doesn't always like on the UFC website, it doesn't always go to that order. So you know, I don't know. Alternate fight weekend. It doesn't really change anything. I'm sure. Is the card on Fight Pass?
It's on BT have all the fights this on their new contract, so it's going to be live on BT Sport, and I presume obviously the prelims will be on the Fight Pass. So yeah, it will be. It'll be on both, but BT in part of their new deal have all the fight cards this year.
Okay, so it doesn't really change anything whether I'm first bout, I'm done and dusted early, or whether I'm last bout. It doesn't really change anything. It's the same fight.
You're going to be pulling a huge crowd over anyway. It's probably better for you, suits you better in relation to your fans, your family, everyone, as you said, getting over there.
100%. It works out well for me. And it's perfect timing. My brother's wife due around that weekend as well. So I'll be back, and
First one, Joey, is it?
first one for him. Yeah, first one for him. So
Congratulations.
that's it. So my sister's just had a wee girl, so I'll be back to see her.
Brilliant.
And then obviously Paul and his wife are expecting, so I'll be back for that. So it works out well.
I just want to get your thoughts, Joe, before I let you go. The whole lightweight division, what's going on in the UFC at the moment, the featherweight division, all the interim titles. What's your opinion on that? I had Frankie Edgar on a few weeks ago. He wasn't impressed with the amount of interim belts that have been thrown around, and I don't think a lot of people are. What's your thoughts on what the UFC are doing with the divisions and in relation to a lot of championships at the moment?
To be honest, for me, if anything, it just makes it confusing. Like when I was in Toronto, and I think Pettis and Holloway was an interim belt, and I was thinking I just couldn't make any sense of it. Because I think, what did they make Aldo the interim champion or something? Or
they made Aldo the champion of the featherweight division.
Yeah, so, that doesn't make. I have no idea what's going on there. This lightweight thing. Obviously, Connor's taking a break, so obviously, I can understand this one, but yeah, I don't think there's the need for the half of it, to be honest. I think it just makes a balls of the whole lot.
It's a load of garbage, is what it is. Joe, what do you envisage seeing happening with you and your situation in the next 12 months? Do you know? Do you have any sort of inkling into what might happen after this fight at UFC London?
I don't know. It's hard to know, I suppose, until after. I think it's maybe a month or two after the fights. We can't speak to any other promotions. Depending on how the fight goes, also, there's a lot of factors involved. So at the minute, it's hard to gauge. So who knows? From what I've seen so far, I don't know. I got the feeling that they're not going to cough up, but who knows? Who knows? We'll figure it out. It's not like I'm looking for a ridiculous sum, or anything, but so far, my feeling isn't too good. So we'll see. Touch wood. I enjoy working with the UFC, and I would like to continue working with them. So we'll see. But
it's obviously somewhere the best fighters in the world want to be, but there is other organizations where you can, in relation to sponsorships as well, you can make a huge amount more money and things like that. So it's not just about staying around the UFC. You have to get what you deserve, and I know you're not asking for a huge amount. Do you reckon that there'll be any in between, any sort of middle grounds that you guys can come to, or?
I'm sure there'll be a middle ground we'll come to. I suppose until you see all the offers that's on the table, what can you do? In terms of the other promotions, the fighters and the quality of fighters, there's a lot of good fighters out there. Guys who could more than hold their own in the UFC as well. So it's not necessarily a step backwards from the UFC. If anything, it's just it's the more well known promotion. But we'll see. we'll see. That's it. Like I said, I'm trying not to look too far ahead or trying to plan or anything. I'm just leaving all doors open, and touch wood, everything will sort itself out.
And I'm sure the plan is to give Reza Madadi a good sing, to so to speak, to make the UFC want to keep you on board more than ever with an amazing performance on March 18th. What's going to happen?
100%. You know, like the last fight was so easy to find motivation. After losing the Poirier fight, it was very easy to find motivation, and this fight is going to be no different. Obviously I got a different thing to draw motivation off, but I still think the Poirier fight. I got the two of them motivate me this time. So even more so, I'm going to be as prepared as I can possibly be, and obviously having so many people I know there. I want to make sure I'm going in there and I'm getting the win for them. So you can guarantee when I step in there, I'm going to be 100% ready for this fight.
In a perverse way, is there a little bit of a chip on your shoulder going into this fight?
Well, there was a bit of a chip on my shoulder in the last fight. So this fight, it's going to be the same thing. That's kind of the way I was going into my training. Every session I was chatting a lot of shit to myself before every session. I was really winding myself up before going in there and making sure, because when you're in there, you're fighting on your own. So you got to be coaching yourself. You got to be making sure you're doing them things in training. So it'd be the same thing. I need to go into my sessions with a bit of a chip on my shoulder, make sure I'm like a dog with a bone. I'm fighting for every little thing, and it's going to be the same thing this time. There's no way I'm not going to leave that octagon given 200%.
Well, Mr. Duffy, very much look forward to the fight. March 18th in London's O2 Arena. Guys, you get your tickets on UFC.com. Now, I believe they're on sale, I think, on Monday. I think it's the Fight Club members or whatever can get their tickets now. It's with some code. But Joe, my friend, always a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you in March in London. Appreciate the time, buddy.
Thanks, Niall. I'll see you in London.
Nice one, Duffy.